guys. Just sitting out here at home, chilling, thinking about the part. And I've come up with some ideas. First of all, it's got to be a block. So I'm figuring if it's 2 inches by 3/4 of an inch and say about an inch long, that should be plenty. I mean, honestly, this might be overkill, but hey, that's okay. It's a good learning experience. So first and foremost, we got to mount it to the frame of the machine, which will be on this side of the block. Okay, so the frame of the machine is here. So we're going to need 2 screws to mount this. Screw will pass through into the frame of the machine. 1, 2, and then there will be bolts which will fasten the screw to the frame of the machine. I'll make this like that, repeat that over here, and etc. Now that's going to mount directly on top or onto the side of the machine. Now what we're going to do, we're going to add a bolt of some sort that will hold a rather thick, maybe 1/8 inch thick piece of steel, like such. Okay? But this little lever here will be able to swing down like that around that axis. And swing back up. When it's in the down position, it'll be out like that. And I'll have a little pin or something that prevents it from swinging any further. Now I found this round piece of aluminum from some previous work I did. I might be able to make the part out of this. So I'm thinking I'm going to turn a round piece into a square piece using the lathe. So we can go something like this using the existing hole. Can't be any more than 3/4 of an inch. So like that, and like that. And the armature could be attached to that. Swing downward, swing upward. And on this side will be the bolts to mount to the machine. From the side view, it would be like that. No more than 3/4 of an inch deep. 2 bolts, 1, 2, and the screw axis, like I said, where the lever is, would be through there, and it would mount, with nuts and bolts and a big washer to prevent it from being pulled through the block. So that's kind of the idea. So we're going to turn this round bar into a square block. So let's get started. Welcome back, guys. Got the round bar mounted in the chuck, 4-jaw chuck, only using 2 jaws naturally, and honestly it's not even perfectly centered, which it's close, but you know, we're cutting a square out of a circle here, so it doesn't need to be perfect. There's no pressure here or here because we do not want any squeezing action, otherwise there's the potential of it flying out. So we only want 2 holding it in. For extra torque, I have the back gear engaged at a fairly decent speed, but not crazy. Last thing I want is this part flying out at 2,000 miles an hour and smashing into my head, or breaking something for that matter. So let me get you mounted on my head and we'll get started. Now what I'm gonna do is I started it and I found the pressure of the blade was rocking this back and forth. So these are holding on to it fairly well. I mean, extremely tight. There's no way I'm going to be able to pull that out. So what I think I'm going to do is just bring this up to the work just enough to prevent it from rocking back and forth. And they're not squeezing, they're just touching it. Barely any pressure. And let's get started here. And you can see the center, the little teeny little nipple sticking out there, which is good. Tells me that nothing's moving. Depending on how comfortable I feel, I might speed it up a little bit more as we go along. Okay, shut it off, go the opposite direction, go in 10 thousandths, we'll go 15, and let's start cutting some more. Trying to make a square piece out of a round hole. Nice and slow. I want to get at least to the point where I have a flat surface and I can turn it around and feel a little more comfortable mounting it to the chuck. And right there. Okay, let's reverse the direction. Bring it in another 15. And cut away. And we'll continue this process until we have a nice flat edge. We're probably going to keep doing this until we're cut up to about this point. So it's a nice flat edge. Well, it's coming out pretty darn good. In fact, I'm very happy with the results so far, and getting more and more comfortable with the machine. I think I'm going to speed it up a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back here, we're going to pull this off this pulley and put it onto this pulley. That'll give us just a tad more speed. Let's see how that does. And start. Oh yeah, that's nice. There we have it. Go into the reverse direction. Go in another 20 thousandths and kick it on. Shut it off, put the cross feed off, shut the machine off, go into the opposite direction, turn it on, and go in 20 thousandths, and cut away. Alright peeps, I think this is going to be the last pass. Let's go around to the back, shall we? It's running really slow. Getting a nice finish. But it's still rough once the blade starts bouncing. So I think actually I'm going to do one more pass and maybe just shave off a few thou rather than the 50 I've been cutting. See if that improves the finish. Then we'll flip the part over and start cutting on the other half there. Alright, just finished the last pass, and let's see what we got here. It's really not bad considering. So now we'll flip it over and we're going to cut off this part here. So let's get to it. Loosen this, pull it out, and push it in. So that now I can use all four jaws to truly hold the part in. There. Right there. And now I feel a little more comfortable running it at higher speeds if needed. Now I'm going to be cutting it right to the edge of the jaw, so I have to be really careful not to hit chuck. So let's get that started. Let's see. Spewing oil everywhere. Aluminum is so easy to work with. Okay. See how well we did. And we're right there, man. Right at the edge of the jaws. Pretty damn good. Cool, cool. Now let's reset. Square up these ends. And we'll go from there. Now we want to clean up these edges. Nice 45-degree chamfer. Alright, let's chuck it up and we'll square up these edges so we have a nice block. As long as I'm close to center, I'm happy. So we're going to go out. We're just going to quickly do this by hand. Come in a little bit. Take the tool away. Do this a few more times and it'll be done. Alright, check our work. And that's not bad. Of course it's off center. We could correct that. Why don't we? And that already looks a lot more centered than it did. Oh yeah, much, much better. We're all checked up, and let's make it happen. That might just do it. Beautiful thing. Okay, good. Take it out of the chuck. File up the edges. And there we have it. Nice semi-square block made out of round stock. So this side will mount to the machine. Have two bolts going through there. This will be the pivot for the machine flap, as we discussed, or the machine lock. And yeah, that's it, man. Okay, peeps, we're back at the drawing. And here's our block, and it's gonna be similar to that. I think I want this on the front. It's finished better. Here's one bolt, and that'll go through the side like that, as the drawing shows. Okay, and the other one right there. Now this screw here, or this bolt, will go through the center and hold up the arm and allow it to rotate 90 degrees and then back up. And how to do this, I'm not too sure, but one way I'm thinking is using a little bit of a pin, like the drawing shows. Put it there and that'll act like a stop so that the arm will not extend past 90 degrees. It won't fall. Once it's in the up position, I got to figure out how to prevent it from rotating past and just falling the opposite direction. In the meantime, we are at the new beast that I've yet to use. It's a Rockwell, Delta Rockwell Unidrill. So now we got to get the vise set up and begin drilling the holes. Okay, I've got the center bit mounted in the drill. I've got the vise mounted and the block mounted. Now unfortunately I don't have any parallels or any real special equipment to do this kind of work, so I'm pretty much just kind of eyeballing everything. 1.32. Okay, so half of that is 0.66. So let's go to 0.66. And again, guys, this isn't like some sort of critical part that goes on the space shuttle or anything. It doesn't need to be perfect. It's just gotta do a real simple task, that's all. So we'll scribe that in there. Okay, and that's right through the middle. Okay. Say 2 3/4. So where do we want to put holes? 3/4 of an inch from each end. I think that would be fine. We could go even a little less, maybe 5/8. Why don't we go 5/8? Scribe that right there. Scribe this right there. And that's where we're drilling. There's 1, 2. Oh, we need power now. Let's get this thing plugged in. And let's check the swing. Make sure we're gonna go through the part but not the vise. And that will do it right there, buddy. See that? And actually we only need a starter hole, so that's fine. Let's get this lined up as close as we can. Have to bump the knuckle over. This is the first time I'm using this bad boy, so let's lock the armature in place so it doesn't go swinging on us. I can't wait till I get that pole barn built. Let's lock this armature into place. Nice and big. That's what she said. So let's turn the power on. And okay, move this to its new position, and voila, and there we have it, folks. Two beautifully set holes. Let's get this out of the way. Not bad for the first time using this baby, huh? So what do you think, huh? Think that'll work? I hope so. Chuck. There we go. Okay. Put this back in my bag of goodies. Let's find a drill to drill some holes. Here's the bolt. And that's 0.367. So it looks like we could go with 3/8 inch bit. Where's our 3/8 inch bits? 3/8 inch bit. Let's lock it down and drill. Start her up. Do the same thing here. And voila, we have our part drilled. Now we have to chamfer the holes so that this will fit inside the block and that the top of the head is flush with it. How are we going to do that? I don't know. I had some big drills laying around somewhere at some time, at some point in my life, but with all that's going on, I think we're going to use some masonry bits, and it's only enough to get down deep enough, and they're at the pretty much at the same angle. I know it's not the correct way, but for now it's the only way. Okay guys, I have the masonry bit in the chuck, and let's just see what we can do. I mean, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So let's just see if we could scrape out some metal, just enough to seat the head, and I'll be happy with that. A little bit of a wobble, but oh well. It's working. Let's see how well that fit. No, it ain't pretty. Ain't pretty at all. But it is what it is. Let's go a little more. So let's do the same thing. That's about it right there. Well, let's take the part out. Ow. 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 Ain't the prettiest thing, but it is what it is. That's good. That's good. Yeah, I think this is going to work well. That's good. And then it'll go into the side of the machine, just like that, as per the drawing. Okay, holes are drilled. And look what I found in my collection of garbage. Thrust bearings. Let's measure from the outside diameter of the hole to the edge of the block, and we have 0.345. Because if I put the hole like right here, the edge of the block, it would mount something like that. Okay. And that'll give us the lever that'll swing downward. So let's make that happen. Now we got to cut it off, and probably be a good idea to round the corners, and so nobody hurts themselves getting poked on rough edges. Okay, before we go deburring this, I got to cut the part off, so let's do that. There's no specific size. Again, everything is just playing it by ear. So we'll start here, and we can always cut more off if needed later, but this should be plenty. Okay, wonderful thing. Hope you guys are able to see what the hell I'm doing, because I can barely see what the hell I'm doing. Here. So here's the part. Swing down and lock part of the machine. That's it. I got to put a pin right here. So I'm going to have to most likely grind part of that corner off like at a 45, because it'll strike it. Mount this in the vise so it's flush with the jaws. I'm going to go up a little. Right there. Oh, a little too high. So let's grab our pin, which we have in our box of goodies. Pin's got to go there. Doesn't need to be protruding so far out, so I can cut it. Beautiful. That's secure. That's not coming out unless you really force it out. No sharp edges. Good. Okay, I got the pin mounted. This extends right to the pin. And now I want to create a stop. So I'm going to put a pin in here and then groove out this so that there's a stop position also. Okay, hit the stop. Now we can move this over, drill another hole through that. Move it over again. Drill another hole through that. Pin fits in there, pretty much. That should be good. And let's bang it into the block. Get this out of the way. Good. So now, that fits like that. But it won't travel past 90. Alright folks, just finished pounding in the last pin. Did a little bit, finalize that grinding and put it all together, and this is what we've got now. I'm going to go out, buy some drills and correct this. I'm not happy with the way these are seating into the block. I mean, what do you expect from a masonry drill bit? But, you know, I kind of learned a lot from this experience, that having the right tools will really help things along, man. First of all, this is too shallow of an angle, and I'm coming in contact with the bolt down here at the bottom of the head rather than flat against the head. Like I said, again, it's not a precision job, but you know I can do better. I just got to get the tools to do the work better. But other than that, I think it's going to work well. I'm going to have to, tomorrow, we'll take it to the shop, install it, and see how well it works. I put 2 bolts on here, locked them tight, so those should never come undone. And then what I did here to allow the swinging, I added a thrust bearing, and I have the bolts just tight enough to keep that from, you know, rocking out of position. So as an operator running the machine that this is going to be installed in, you will physically have to be able to move it into its upper locked position in that groove, or in the lower locked position against the pin. And I think that's good because you have to be conscientious of operating it. So, other than that, I think it came out pretty well. If you remember, it was a round stock with a hole in the middle, and this is the original hole in the middle, which is supporting the bearings and that piece of steel. And we turned it from a round stock to a square piece of metal. I think it's time to clean up this disaster and go from there. And there's the baby filming.
Huh?
Filming.
Why?
Because I'm showing everybody the last of the...
Okay, don't put me in it. You know that.
Yeah. So anyway...
See that you beat the hell out of me.
Yeah, right. So anyway, yeah, that's it. Tomorrow we get to install it, and we'll see how well it works. Hopefully I did everything right. Until then, see ya. Okay, there's the part.